So I wanted to show everyone the machines that I use to make the bags. This is the seam taping machine. It's from Japan, I think like 1993. And it's the only machine that doesn't have a speed control via pedal. The speed control is this knob here. So the on-off button is over here, and this will start bringing air in through this nozzle. So this is the nozzle heater, and this is the roller heater. So this top roller can also be heated, but the main heat is coming out of this nozzle right here. This arm swings over into place and shoots the really hot air on this tape as the rollers engage. So I'll just show you real quick, turning it on. The roller head goes up like that. Temperature starts going up. This is the meters per minute indicator of how quickly the machine is going. And over here is a control box that controls this little cutter right here, so that you can set it so that when you release the pedal while you're taping, you release the pedal and then it automatically cuts the seam tape that's coming from this roll up here. I don't really use that. I normally just keep these little guys here to make sure I'm not wasting that inch or two of seam tape. So yeah, on and off switch is here, power switch is here, cut, all that stuff. So yeah, I get it up to about 380 degrees Celsius. I've been told that it's actually more like 300 or so. But yeah, some good way to warm up your hands in the morning. And this machine particularly has two arms, a cylinder bed arm here, and this other arm that can be engaged by turning this red knob down here. So yeah, just for different applications, you know, if you're doing like an arm pit or a sleeve or something, it's usually better to use this. And I need to replace the silicone roller head on this arm at some point, just because those get used after a couple years of use. Here is my walking foot machine. It's a Juki LU2210N-6. It's pneumatically controlled, so if you put your heel down on the pedal, it lifts the foot if it's turned on. And it also has pneumatically controlled thread cutting when you're done stitching. So I'll just show you guys really quick on this little piece of scraps. And there's a reverse button here, also over here. Oh, I guess that one doesn't work. Anyway, I only use this one. So, and then when you're done stitching, you just put your heel down all the way, and the pneumatic controls cut the thread. And here's your bobbin. So you just slide this plate back. I use this machine mostly for thicker seams and for reinforcing straps with foam in them, that kind of stuff. This is the Bartacker. It's a Juki LK1850. So it just does one thing. It just reinforces where the straps go in, or compression straps and hip belts and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty loud, but I'll just show you what it does. So it basically just does like a zigzag pattern back and forth with some stitches down the middle as well. Really good way to make sure something doesn't move. This is my main machine. It's a needle feed Juki DLN 9010A-SH. It's direct drive, so it's really responsive. It's got thread cutting, needle positioning. So if you put your heel down, it lifts the foot up, and got a reverse button right here. It's got a computer over here, and you can program that to do automatic backtacking at the beginning and the end of your stitch. Wind bobbins here, and it's got a reverse button here, and then this is your stitch length, and oil goes in here. Yeah, it's a great machine, reliable, and basically if you have a truce bag, I mostly use this machine to make it. This is the cylinder bed machine that I use for applying binding tape. It's an old Singer 153W103 that I had re-enameled. And it's better for applying binding tape to small stuff like dop kits and anything that has curves and into, you know, like a chalk bag or something like that. I find that this cylinder bed is better for that application than a flatbed machine with a binding attachment on it. And yeah, it's an old one. It doesn't have reverse at all, but it's really reliable and does a good job of putting on binding tape for me. This is my serger. It's got 4 threads coming in, 2 curved needles down here. And this is an American-made machine. This is how you open it up to see what's going on inside. And yeah, it's not very fun to rethread. There's one that goes into a tube, and lots of just little corners that you definitely need to have some of these to do. Yeah, great little machine. I use it for interior pocket liners, basically, for the edges of those to make sure they don't fray. And it just cuts. It's got a little knife here that cuts off excess, and it goes down this chute and into this bag. And basically what you end up with is stuff like this. This is how you get oil into it. And this is the only machine that when you hand crank it, you go the opposite direction. It's kind of weird to get used to, but yeah, great little machine. And this is a needle feed machine that I don't really use that often. It's kind of a backup. It's a Juki DLN5410N, and yeah, there's no computerized control on it or anything, and it's a knee lift machine as opposed to a heel lift. So yeah, it doesn't have quite as many controls and nice features on it, so I don't use it as much. This is the hot knife cutting area where I cut webbing, Velcro, cord, and this is the grommet press over here. So I've got the bottom and the top of the grommets here, and I just put basically all my body weight on that. And then this is a handheld Heißschneider hot cutter. Creates quite a bit of fumes when you use this or this hot knife cutter, which is controlled by a little foot pedal here. So I have this suction coming out of here into a can filter so that I'm not breathing too many toxic fumes. And here's a compressor that I use to power the seam taping machine and the walking foot machine. It's a US made compressor from California Air Tools that's pretty quiet, and yeah, it works great. Here's what I use to cut material. If there's stacks of similar patterns to cut out, I'll use these fabric clamps and this powered rotary cutter. But most of the time I'll just use these shears and sometimes this little handheld rotary cutter on the lighter material. And this is the heat press machine that I use to apply reflective heat press tape. The bottom bed comes out like this. I put the piece in here, I cover it with this, make sure it's still nice and flat, slide it back in and just engage this. And that puts the pressure, and this is the heated element. So I leave that in there for about 10 seconds, and then I pop it back off, pull it back out, and then pull the material back out of here. So yeah, this thing's pretty great. It's got a digital display up here that you use to turn it on and control temperature and time settings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, another very useful machine.